What is up, everyone? Today, we have the main course for you. We're going to serve you up with a plate full of cats. Okay, I'm just getting right to it. I ain't
All
even
right,
introducing
listen,
us yet.
psycho man, you need to calm that down.
We we're the first ones to die.
Alex.
My name is Jonathan. I'm here with Alex and Jerome. How are y'all doing? Jerome, how you doing?
I'm concerned. You talking about serving up cats? Like, I
Cheddar,
don't know what's going on.
Look, even Cheddar looks concerned. He's like, I know I look like a rotisserie chicken, but you ain't gotta serve me.
That's right. All right, cats are friends. We have the whole movie about it.
What's the movie where it's like fish are friends, not food? Is that
Finding Nemo?
Okay, yeah, that's Finding Nemo. Yeah, with the sharks. Yeah, that's when the sharks were in school.
Anyway, I'm doing all right. I'm chilling. Yeah. Stay
how about you,
hydrated,
Alex?
people. Got water.
Yeah, stay hydrated. Alex, speaking of hydrated.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Never mind, I won't go there.
No. I'll explain. So my lips are extra red today, not because of lipstick, but because I bought chapstick apparently that has like a lipstick tint in it or a color tint. I've been trying to wash this off since like maybe 4 o'clock and it's not coming off. It really does stain your lips, or I don't know if my lips are just really dry and it's like sticking, or maybe I've just rubbed my lips so much that now they're just naturally red like this for a while. But either way, look at what you're buying, especially if it's going on you. Look at the label and make sure you're actually getting the correct one, because now I'm walking around like this.
I came on and I was like, oh, Alex has lipstick on. All right.
Which I appreciate both of you taking notice. Thank you very much. But no, it was just my own self not paying any attention and just being like, ooh, it's red. I like red. That was it.
Well, lesson learned. That I have to say that did make my day.
You started crying a little bit.
I did. Just like the roller coaster. So today we are going to be, it's been a long podcast in the making, because we've been talking about this ever since it came out. Before it came out, when the trailer dropped at Comic-Con, in summer of 2019, for 2 years we've been talking about this.
I'm encouraged to just like, I don't know, maybe we'll find, I guess if you're listening to this, I've already done it, so it doesn't matter. But in the audio version, I might just cut in a snippet of that conversation from that Comic-Con episode. So you don't have to listen to the whole thing to find it. But that was a legendary moment for the Behind the Usher Station.
That, and there's some old Instagram posts I can repost and show exactly how we were all traumatized watching that trailer, because I think we actually recorded it. We were so I was at least disturbed by it, and I even made my cat look away at the time. I was like, Snowball, don't look. I don't know what those things are.
So if you're listening to this audio and I'm saying this now, like I probably have already cut it in, or I'm gonna cut it in right now. So I'm gonna cut it in after I say this, and that's for the audio people. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go to the audio version on Spotify or Podbean, and you can hear what we're talking about. Anyway, Jonathan, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you said.
No. We have to set up how we got to this point, because I don't think we ever, even on the times when we're like, we don't have anything to talk about, we're like, we could do cats, but we could also not do cats. And
okay, really quick. I was not here last week due to a family emergency. So so it was you two. You two picked the movie. I agreed because I get to drink. I get to be a little tipsy. And I was tipsy when I watched it. Who recommended Cats first? Who picked it?
Well, Jonathan did.
I think it was
to
me.
Be quite honest, it's like we did mention Cats last week. I forget why though. I don't remember.
I have the snippet somewhere.
No, it was because we were talking about musicals, and I said
that's right.
They should have made a movie version of Cats, and you said we still need to watch that because we had not seen it yet until today. Also, I was gonna say our thing with cats reminds me of a story of the death of Superman and how that came to be at the DC office, because when
Hold on, I
there's
think that I have that on bingo where Jerome brings it back to DC or comics.
that's definitely not on the bingo card. It's in the comics, it's on the bingo card, not but I haven't said it yet. So because this didn't happen, quote. So so
Fair enough.
in the studio at DC, they used to have like meetings where they would get all the writers together for all this because there was always like multiple books for Superman, because it was like Man of Steel, Adventure Comics, yada yada. And all the writers would come together and they would discuss like what the stories are going to be for Superman, and they would write a joke on the board and be like, and then Superman dies. And it was, like just a funny thing to do. And it was just this idea in the back of their minds all this time. And then eventually, I don't know what happened, but they hit a point where they were just like, yeah, and maybe Superman dies for real this time. Yeah, maybe Superman dies. Yeah, let's do it. Superman's dying today. And they wrote the book. And I feel like Cats for us is the same way, where it's like, yeah, we're going to do that Cats review. Yep, Cats review. That's going to happen. Cats review. It's like, hey, we're doing that Cats review? Yep, Cats review coming soon. And now here we are. I think like a year later, and Cats review is on.
Well, were we
involved in
supposed
that
to?
creative decision.
Were we gonna watch it when it came out?
Yes,
because it came out in 2019.
That was the plan, and then I forget what happened. We just didn't do it.
I refused. It creeped me out so much. Okay, it's not a secret. I have a thing. Furries freak me out. Okay, what your kink is what your is, but furries freak me out. Okay, and then this thing, it's like these humanoid animals, and that was like, no, that's trippy to me. I wasn't a fan of that, and then like I didn't even want my cat watching it. Be like, no, this is not good role models for you. don't look.
So I'm assuming if anyone wants a preview of what Alex is going to say in this Cats review, just go back a couple episodes to our Sexy Beasts review. We have a discussion on furries there as well. So yeah, check that out.
But yeah, to give some context, so this is the movie for those, if you've been sleeping under a rock. Cats is a movie version of the famous musical of the same name, also named Cats, based off of the poetry collection of
T.S. Eliot.
Yeah, T.S. Eliot.
It was a poetry collection? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and apparently all of the cats that are in the movie / musical are in the poems as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But the songs are original. It's not like he took the poetry lyrics and then turned them into song lyrics. Like I believe the songs are pretty much all original, made by it's something Lloyd Webber. Is it Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Andrew Lloyd
Webber.
Okay, I thought that was correct. Okay. And now one director, Tom Hooper, who is famous for bringing another musical to the big screen in Les Miserables, or Les Miserables. I don't know why I say Blay.
Well, I think the
Spanish going on.
Yeah,
I think the French technically is like Les Miserables. I don't know. I don't speak French.
There's an accent aigu over the E, which in French means that E is pronounced A, but I don't. I assumed it was Les Miserables, but
everybody just calls it Les Mis. Les Mis.
Yeah. But he's famous for directing Les Mis. That's why I'm sure they hired him to do Cats, because they were like, "You've done that one, now you're doing this one." And so yeah. So I like, do we even want to do a non-spoiler section? Like, who cares? Who is like dying on the hill that I haven't seen Cats yet? I don't want to be spoiled by Cats. Like, I don't see that being an issue for anybody.
Listen, if you don't want to be spoiled by Cats, pause the video now. Get your little show fact. What's it called? What's the subscription that I had to get the 7-day subscription in order to watch
Cinemax?
Cinemax.
No, but I will say,
get a little
if you're
Cinemax
like
subscription and watch it.
Upset about spoilers for Cats, I feel like you would have watched Cats already.
Also,
like if you're all intense about that, you've watched it. You've watched it.
Jonathan, you didn't say that right. It's if you are worried about spoilers for Cats, turn this off because we don't want you as a fan. Go to the psychiatric hospital and get yourself checked in because clearly you are not thinking straight. Nobody should care about spoilers for this movie. Because the musical's been out since the 90s. I mean, not even 90s, the 80s. So the story's out. Like, if you want to know about Cats, you should have been seen it by now. You didn't have to wait for the movie.
And there's a whole, so this is how I got introduced to Cats when I was a kid. Before, my parents would always take me to Blockbuster like after school, or no, we went to Hollywood Video. And when you put the VHS in,
hold on, really quick. Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, for our very young fans, are places where you used to go and rent movies on DVDs and VHSs. If you don't know what those two are, go ask your parents. You had to leave your house to get movies to play in, and you could only get like, I think, a max of 3. They allowed
Right.
you to
When
check
Netflix used to be the service used to be, we'll send you DVDs
Right.
in the mail.
I used to have I got it that way the first time ever was when they used to send you DVDs. That's the way I watched. I think the first season of True Blood.
Oh wow.
And by the way, I hated True Blood. I couldn't.
I enjoyed it for the first 3 seasons, and then after that, it just went right off the rails.
I thought it would be more violent, I guess, because it was supposed to be killer vampires, unlike Twilight, and then it just
nope.
was
It was
like
going to be just Twilight.
It was like grown-up Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Less creepy because they look this way. Go on.
Anyway,
so you used to get the
back to
VHS
Cats.
here. So you used to get the VHSs.
Yes. So whenever for a lot of the movies, whenever I would put the VHS into the VHS player, VCR, they would have previews coming soon to VHS.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the previews was always Cats, but it was the filmed stage version.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got introduced to Cats. I've never seen the movie version of the stage musical or
Kinda
the stage
like
musical itself. But I
style?
Yeah.
kind of, but they used a specific cast for the filming of the stage version. So it wasn't the Broadway cast. It's not like they just one day filmed the musical with an audience. They actually brought in a new cast to film. From what I understand, they brought in they filmed it specifically, but on stage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Hamilton did the same thing. I mean, that is the Broadway cast, but the circumstances for how they filmed it was very specific of like, we want to, I think there was like a minor audience, but it wasn't like they went to a Broadway show and filmed them.
Which kind of makes sense. There's such a difference between films and plays and the way they're directed and the way, with the camera movement, because the stage you stay like kind of that in that area, but the camera movement can do like 180-degree angles and just go around you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can see why they would want to get possibly actors who are able to handle more of the rapid movement of camera. But
also, which I have seen like, I haven't seen the full thing from start to finish. I've only watched select songs. But funny enough, I feel like that dude, like watching this movie today, I feel like that dude who like is the conspiracy theorist and he has like the wall with the yarn and the notes and everything, kind of like that meme of Charlie Day.
He's
with all the connected.
Yeah, because here's the thing about Cat. Here's my history with Cats. All right, I watched the trailer. I'm like, I'm willing to give this movie a chance, as recorded on our on that episode, right? Then fast forward, we don't see the movie, but then like all the people I follow, they start reviewing Cats, and then it gets me in my mindset of like, everybody hates this movie. Something's got to be up. Like, I don't know that the movie clearly looked bad from the trailers, but I'm still in my mind. I'm like, it can't be that everybody hates it. Somebody's got to love this movie.
Taylor.
So I start.
Like, I love that boy. but like he loves everything.
I was like, somebody has to let us
And we love you.
Yeah, that's true. We love you, Taylor. We just give you a lot of crap. But
He's a very positive man. Go on.
I sift through all these videos on YouTube trying to discern if anybody loves this movie, and if they do hate it, if someone can give me the full thing. So then I start watching the Cats musical. I start watching the snippets and different songs, and then watching the videos of the songs from the movies, and then start comparing the two to see what the issues is and why the melodies don't work in the movie that work in the musical. And the my last piece of the puzzle, and where I stopped my investigation, was, and I'm gonna get her name right because I'm gonna give her some respect, because she had the best review in my opinion, is a girl on YouTube. You can find her on YouTube. Her name is Allison Marie, and she is a theater actress. She was in a performance of Cats. I don't know where, and I don't think it was on Broadway. I think it was just a smaller, like, local thing. But it also might have been, I don't know, I can't remember. But she broke it down in the science of like why the musical Cats works, what the musical is, all that good stuff, and then why it doesn't work in the movie and what things specifically don't work, yada yada. I highly advise watching her review if you're interested in like a review from someone who's been in the musical and has a theater background. So I say all that to say that to now, because literally I watched and finished the movie just before getting on the Zoom call to do this review. Like, it was that, mostly because I honestly forgot we were watching Cats today. And then Alex, you messaged in the group chat and I was like, oh, right, I'm supposed to be watching Cats. I cut off.
I watched it this morning. I was like, let me start my day with this. Let me get it out the way.
I had just enough time to like watch the whole thing from start to finish.
I watched it like early afternoon yesterday because I still have to go to work. I have a proper job, so I couldn't drink too late. So I had to watch it in a good amount of, I was adult drinking.
And after watching this movie, I watched the whole thing and I was just like, no, I see it now. It's all the pieces coming together. I finally took down the board and the string and everything. And I feel like I'm back to being back to sanity, and my Cats addiction is over.
Wait, so do that whole thing. Did you or did you not like the movie? Because I'm not clear. Because you brought up this one person, but you didn't. You said it was a good review, but you didn't actually state whether she like
gave it a good
review or not.
A good review in that it is a like well thought out like the thing. She hated the movie.
Okay, see, that's what I meant. Like,
it was a good review in that she like
it was very
broke it down. It's very well constructed. Yes.
Okay, now I'm with you.
But recently you've been entrenched in the world of Cats for the last.
Oh, this was a whole like, I think it was like a whole 2 months. I just was watching all things Cats related. I don't know why. I was just invested in trying to figure out this problem and how to fix it.
Your YouTube recommends is like, bruh, like really?
This was last year in 2020 when I had nothing else to do. Okay, so
YouTube still remembers.
Yes, it does. It does. I searched one thing one time and it's like, I ain't gonna forget that.
So I say all that to say this movie trash, and and what's worse is I can't even give you the full reason why, because this isn't even the real version of Cats. Because the real version, like for those who don't know, they released Cats in theaters, and it was awful from what I hear. Like it was almost like it was unfinished. Because how it is now is like it looks like a finished movie, but it just doesn't make sense. Versus like when they say when it released the first time, like CG wasn't done. People were like characters were like twitching all over the place, like they weren't supposed to be, like because they twitch already now. But it's like they say it was a disaster. And then they brought to theaters a new version of Cats, I think like a couple weeks later, and that also got put in theaters and replaced the old version, and that's the version that's also on DVDs and at home release. That's what
apparently also, and I remember hearing about this. Apparently in one scene, Judi Dench's hand with her wedding ring appears instead of the cat paw in the original release.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
So
think
that's
you
just
remember
one.
you telling me that was there and that it looked really weird because all of a sudden she's like a human hand.
mhm.
Right. And that's
Which
just one example.
also, shame on you. I forget the studio who paid for this movie to be made, but shame on y'all. Okay, don't punish us because y'all made a
It's
trash movie.
Universal, I
Because do
Universal
you
think.
have any
Pictures, yeah, it's
idea?
Universal Pictures.
Yeah, Universal, y'all
Oh, you
trash for that.
trashing Universal? Oh, you
Because
trashing
you know what?
Universal? We
No, but
just
no,
gave praise
Jonathan. You
to
know
We did
Universal
why?
a
just have a
couple
good
You
day.
know
weeks ago.
why? Here's
You
why.
went to their
All
theme
right.
park. You
I
gave
don't
them
give a damn.
money.
Okay, look, the fact of the matter is this. Okay, y'all made a trash movie. Why is it that I gotta subscribe to Cinemax on everything to watch your movie? I tried 3 different methods. I went to YouTube. You gotta buy it if you go through YouTube. If you go on the on-demand through cable, you gotta order. You either can rent it for like $15 or buy it outright. If you go to Amazon Prime and Hulu, you gotta be subscribed to Cinemax. Why y'all charging us extra money for a movie you know you ain't gonna make money back on? Release it for free so at least people can have some fun reviewing this trash movie.
It,
God damn it.
it used to be on HBO Max for free.
It
Well,
was.
with a subscription.
Okay, so really quick, we know how Jerome feels.
Yes.
Jonathan, what did you think of the movie?
I was just confused and a little bored. It was as much as, people talk about the catastrophe of it all. I found myself at times just like not caring that much.
You didn't care about the
Some of these
cats?
yeah, what was that?
I said you didn't care about the cats.
As much as cats are great and everything, in this filmed musical, at some points I wasn't caring that much about them. I don't know whether it was the way in which it was shot. I don't know if it was the fact that I don't know if the plot necessarily and the whole concept translate to screen. I did like some of the performances. Jennifer Hudson, she knows how to play broken and dejected very well. And she did that in this movie. And she sang very well in this movie. And Idris Elba, he knows how to play menacing very well as well. And he did that in this movie. And he did that very well in this movie. I do have to say, though, he was the only one that looked like he wasn't, Idris Elba, he looked like he wasn't a cat at some points just because of like how he was lit and how he was in the shadows for a lot of the times. But yeah, taking into account like everything, all of the critiques of this movie, and all the trashing that people have done on this film have said, there's not very much that I can add to it on that point. I agree with a lot of it. Like it's kind of creepy at some points. People talk about like the Polar Express or like some of those Tim Burton style movies are creepy. This is peak creepiness, and I hope I do not have like a dream or nightmare about it because I will be suing Universal. So
I feel like it's only right.
yeah, so taking that into account, I was bored. I was bored by the movie. How about you, Alex?
I think people forget how beautiful Jennifer Hudson can sing. I think people forget like that she's so talented. So because I've heard that comment like, oh, she's one of the best singers on there. Yeah, she's a fantastic singer. She's always been a fantastic singer. She's got such a range and she can hold a note for quite some time. She's very powerful in her singing. I think people forget that. The movie freaked me out, of course. Like, I don't like how they had the human faces and then the human teeth. Putting human teeth on animals is not okay in any sense of the word.
Those filters.
And like at that point, it's like either just do the body paint or like full CGI. You're doing this half weird, like in between thing going on with their face and then their body. Another thing that really bothered me I enjoyed the music. I will say, put a positive in there. I like the songs. I had fun with them. And I don't know if it's just me because I enjoy musicals. I didn't really have an issue with any of the songs. I just was having fun with them. I also was tipsy. That might be another reason. Have a drink before you guys watch this film. I mean, I think that helped a lot for me. But another thing that bothered me about this film was that some of the cats were wearing clothes and some of them weren't. Like Idris Elba's character was like full on wearing clothes, even a jacket and a hat. But like the main character of the film, I think her name was Victoria the White Cat. She wore nothing but the pearls. And it's like, and the size.
That's when she had it,
was
so
so
she doesn't wear
inaccurate.
anything for most of the film.
Yeah, that's true. Most of the cats don't wear anything, and then they bring in these like side characters, like Idris Elba's character and Judi Dench's character. They're wearing full clothes, like pants and shirts and everything. It was also the thing that brought me out of the movie was the distribution in size was so off, and it was like, okay,
like in comparison to the
seem like
furniture and stuff.
Yeah, but like they go outside and suddenly they're like almost as large as the trash cans at some points.
Right.
But then
And it
like,
was like-
then they go on like with the Skimbleshank song, they're on the railway, but they're like tiny. Like in
Yeah.
like if you measured them, they'd be probably about like 3
Does
inches
he look
tall.
like he
based
would
off-
be 3 inches tall? Does he look small to you?
It is funny that Cheddar is like, normally I'm not around for most of y'all's reviews, but today I'm gonna be dead center. I want y'all to see me.
He's like, I'm involved in
Cats
this.
review.
He's just sleeping. He unintentionally knew that. But like, yeah, like Cheddar, if he gets on a table, he's noticeable. He's not gonna dance around a single plate. He's a big cat. So it's like
Right.
they made him look like, yeah, you're right, 3 inches tall, especially in that railroad scene. And then like almost the size of mice. And then when they were outside or doing other things, they were like as large as the items around them, which took me out. I'm like, wait, tiny or small. The James Corden cat bothered me a lot.
Buster for Joe.
Same.
Yeah. I don't
We talked about this last week, Jonathan. I'm telling you, it's the James Corden effect. If he's in the musical, you going like it's going to be a failure. All right, don't
what
bring
other
him around
musical
here
has
no
he
more.
been in?
Cinderella,
Into the Woods.
and Into the
Cinderella.
I liked
um,
Into the Woods.
The
In
Prom.
the Woods wasn't a failure in execution, but it didn't make the money that I'm sure Disney wanted.
That's fair. I enjoyed it. What was the second one?
The
Cinderella.
Prom.
Oh yeah, and he was in Prom. I forgot about that too. Also,
I don't know Prom. What
See,
was
that's what I mean.
Oh, Cinderella, the recent one.
The
I
recent
stopped
one,
watching.
yeah.
I
Same.
heard there was just a lot of issues with that film.
Yeah.
But his character was just, there were a lot of comic relief characters, and I understand that they wanted to lighten up a lot of scenes, but his character was like not funny at all. I didn't find it funny at all. I was like, oh, you're bumbling full of, I like his Gibson. He wanted to
He's
be
like, I
part
need
of
to
it.
show- Right. He was watching the movie at certain points. He was like engaged. He was looking at the cats at certain points. I caught him.
Yeah, because he's like, "What is this? This don't look right. I know cats. All right, they don't look like that. What are you
Like,
watching?
they're not human either, because they're not looking like that either. But yeah, like his character wasn't funny at all, and I was like, well, I like James Corden. I do enjoy him, and like even in like Into the Woods, I found him sort of funny. You're right; it wasn't the greatest acting, but it was funny. But in this, he was just
Yeah, his whole first song in this is about being fat and being a fat cat and weighing
How
20
blunt you said that.
offended Cheddar. Poor Cheddar.
Here's the thing: is that most of the singing in this is bad. I'm sorry, it just is, and it's not. Some of it is because it's people, because like for example, Judi Dench, she can sing, but old Deuteronomy is normally played by a man who sings in tenor notes, and Judi Dench that's not quite her vocal range, but she's still trying to do it anyway, and it just doesn't sound right. Also, you have I don't know, Jason Derulo, for example. It's like he can really sing too, and he does a good enough job, but it seems like he's trying to do all this extra stuff on a song that is pretty simple, and loses some of the swagger of the Rum Tum Tugger song from the original.
I think also his voice is a little bit higher than what was needed. Also, same like Judi Dench. He doesn't have that deep of a voice, at least when he's singing. When I listen to his music, so a lot of these notes that were hit like by Taylor Swift and Rebel Wilson, and I think the lowest voice was maybe Jennifer Hudson. She was able to hit those like low notes properly, but like all the other singers, their voices were too high for some of the characters that were or for some of the notes, because it was lacking the harmony with the other cats. I don't like saying that. So
Robin Wilson and James Corden did a terrible job. Like, because they're not great singers already. Like, half of what makes James Corden when he is in musicals really good is that James Corden has a level of personality to him and that helps carry him through most of his musical performances. The thing about Cats, though, is it's a musical that borders on opera. Like, you gotta really come with it to sing these songs, and James Corden and Rebel Wilson don't have that vocal capabilities. They can sing, but they can't. And as most Black people would say, they can't sing. Like, they can't really hit them notes like that. They can't vocalize like that. So the fact that they were cast at all,
it's like a lack of emotion, though.
Yeah, exactly. They're not able to get even. I'll even give it to Ian McKellen, which in the musical, his song is normally sung by a different person who's telling the story. And then he's just there. In the movie version, they make it where Ian McKellen sings it instead, which isn't like an issue, but like for me personally. But the thing about it is that even though Ian McKellen definitely cannot like sing like that lady can in the actual stage performance, he makes up for it by being, in my opinion, by being like heartfelt. Like, you feel like this is an old man who really is past his prime, who's like heartfeltly like thinking about his glory days, and it helps kind of keep keep you engaged in the song, even though it's not like vocally incredible. So it's like, and I'm sure they hired Rebel Wilson and James Corden because they're like, hey, y'all play the big people in movies and fall down and stuff. Want to do that in this movie? Which is all they did. But
like Rebel Wilson, I don't think she's that good of an actress. I don't find her funny in a lot of stuff.
I like her in Pitch Perfect, and that's pretty much it.
He hosts a show on ABC called Pooch Perfect, and it's a dog grooming competition.
That seems like ABC ran out of some ideas. It's just dog grooming now. Just show me the dog. I don't want to see the grooming process. Just show me the cuties. So yeah, this was. I know. I read an article that Anne Hathaway was actually supposed to play like the lead or a big part in it, but she actually passed it up because she had another movie at the time recording.
She saved herself.
No, honestly, I do like Anne Hathaway. She wasn't that great in Les Miserables. I think her acting was good, but her singing was bad too in that. So I think she saved herself a lot of ridicule by not being in that. I think that was what it is.
And I believe this is one of those things I think In the Heights got right, is that In the Heights was like, no, we do not have anyone famous in our movie. The most famous person in their movie, the most famous people are Jimmy Smits and Corey Hawkins. Is that his name? Mm-hmm. They're the two most famous people in that film that play lead characters. And that's saying a lot, considering Corey Hawkins and Jimmy Smits are not like A-list. They're B-list. I'll give them that. But they're not like a Will Smith or a Tom Cruise, who's like just
Stephanie
a hearing.
Barrett's is in there.
Who?
Stephanie Barrett's, the woman from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's in there.
But like, if you've never seen that show, like, you have no clue who she is.
Shut up, she's great.
I'm just saying, like, you know who she is because you've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you've never watched that show, you don't know that actress, more than likely, unless you're like Indy, who like knows everybody. but
He does.
but
And Anthony Ramos, rising
Anthony,
star.
again, if you've never seen Hamilton, again, he's a rising star. He's not like it's no different than if
Okay,
he's
but
not
most
on
of the
the
people
level.
most of the
Yeah.
people who watch In the Heights have seen Hamilton.
Okay, but that's the
true.
demographic. That's not the demographic. When you're marketing for a movie, you're not trying to market for the people you already know are going to come. Those people's tickets are already purchased. We're trying to get the people who don't know who Anthony Ramos is, who don't know who Corey Hawkins is, who don't know who any of these people are, because that's more than likely as like it's a shame because all those people are really talented is the majority.
But I think for a movie like that, and why is In the Heights invading our
Well,
lives
I haven't
once
finished.
more?
The reason I bring that up,
but I was gonna
is,
say, but I was
At
gonna
least
say,
it's not Malcolm
Lin-Manuel.
Marie.
I was. This is our new Malcolm and Marie. But I was gonna say, I think the name Lin-Manuel Miranda, a project by Lin-Manuel Miranda, is gonna get people. What are you doing? Is gonna get people talking, and is gonna get people because even if they haven't seen Hamilton, they're gonna know. Okay, Lin-Manuel Miranda, he's a famous person and he knows what he's doing. So I think that is what they were going for in
more
selling
like
point.
regardless. My point is that In the Heights, it was clear upon their casting that their concern was not let's get as many famous people in here as we can get to sell this movie. Let's not hire Will Smith and let's not get Johnny Depp and all these other people to sell this movie. Let's get people who can really sing, who can really dance, and who are really good at doing both at the same time and are really gonna, elevate this material. And I feel like Cats' problem is that they did the opposite. They're like, let's hire famous people because this cast is superstar studded. You got Jennifer Hudson, Oscar winner, or nominee. I forget if she's won an Oscar or not. I know she was nominated.
She has won an Oscar. She's won an Oscar and a Grammy. She's halfway to an EGOT.
Yeah, so Jennifer Hudson, Oscar winner. Ian McKellen, super famous. Judi Dench, super famous.
Yeah, but all three of the people you just named right there have theater training. So they have acting and they have camera work and theater training.
But are they good enough for Cats though? Jennifer Hudson, yes. Because she's got that powerful voice.
I didn't know there was something as good enough for Cats.
Well, in the sense
I didn't know there was a standard for Cats.
It's that every musical is not the same. Like, you know what I mean? Some musicals require different levels of skill set, different levels of vocal talent. And you don't hire James Corden to do Cats because his voice ain't meant for that type of that musical challenge. You don't hire Idris Elba to do Cats because his voice isn't built for that bit of a vocal challenge.
I mean, like, in all fairness, they did hire like Pierce Brosnan for like Mamma Mia, and he was so bad they literally gave him a chorus in the sequel. He didn't sing; he like word spoke to a slight tune.
That movie's riddled with bad casting too. The point is,
hey, watch your mouth.
Wait, isn't he gonna be in another movie?
I'll defend Mamma Mia all the time.
Isn't he gonna be in another? Isn't he gonna be in another
Pierce
musical
Brosnan?
soon? Yeah,
he should not. He should.
I mean, I don't know. I don't follow.
That's
Pierce
terrible.
Brosnan
Talk while I look this up.
I get what you're saying about like stuffing the but also when it tends to be a theater film. Oh, let's Cheddar just did a good stretch. He did a big stretch. Good boy. When it comes to like theater, a lot of people unfortunately don't go to that, and so when you're trying to make it into a movie or something like that, you have to draw people in with
Oh, okay. Pierce Brosnan was in the Cinderella.
Okay,
as the king.
Oh, if he didn't sing, then it's fine. He could be a king. He could totally work as a king. So a lot of people don't watch theater so separate. A lot of people don't like theater, unfortunately, which is to me very sad. I love it. So you have to like draw people in, so they use a big cast. In the Heights didn't have a big cast like that or big names because it already had one major name, which was Manuel
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Thank you. Already drawing people in because people raved about Hamilton so much, and people who don't even like go to plays went to see Hamilton. So In the Heights was drawn because it was him. His name was the big name, and then a lot of people didn't think about Cats. They're like, oh, it's a bunch of people in like spandex painted as cats jumping around on a stage. How do I make this more appealing? Like, how am I going to make people come in? Because that still creeps me out. And then, like, they made a movie and they're like, oh, I really love, James Corden, Ian McKellen, Taylor Swift. I love all these people. I'll go see it just for them. So they kind of played to the pander of the individual actors, like fans and targets. Like, you go to see a movie just for them.
What I'm saying is
that's
a bad thing, though, because it's the equivalent of if I sold you a house and on the outside, the house looks immaculate and beautiful. But as soon as you try to use any of the appliances, all of them don't work and burn the house down. And that's basically
like house hunting.
And
that's exactly like house hunting, though.
But
you go
that's the experience of cats, then.
Yeah, no, they're like, look, it's got like built-in like bookcase, and then it's got the natural or the I'm drunk a little bit. It's got like mold crowning and like a porcelain tub. Don't mind the scratches on the window. You just think somebody tried to break in, but look at the beautiful like old style Victorian tub. And that's how people get killed in horror films. The devil gets
like, I also think
that's what I'm saying. That's why it's like I'm that's what I'm saying is that you're right, that is what they were hoping to bank on, but the problem is that you can't bank on that if the product still is trash, though.
Well,
like if they're not going to help make the product better so that you can continue to make money, then they're a hindrance. That's a negative. I'm sorry. I think
this is what they try to do with a lot of movies and stuff, is that they, and some shows as well, they will say, oh, we got this big talent. Like, for example, the first one that comes to my mind is the movie Hustlers with J-Lo and Constance Wu. Cardi B
Hustlers,
is like,
by the way, I like that movie.
Same. I thought it was a really good movie. Cardi B and Lizzo are listed in the main cast, but they are literally both in the movie for max 2 minutes.
No, but that's not true.
But they're on the main
Cardi
cast.
B are in for at least 5. So.
You know what actually reminds me more of? The Invincibles.
Mm-hmm. Where they have all these.
Oh, you mean Invincible?
Yeah, Invincible.
I thought you were thinking. I thought you meant like the Incredibles, but you said the Invincibles.
I thought it in my head. I did say Invincibles. I thought Incredibles in my head, and I'm like, that's not right. So I did think it in my head, but I said Invincibles. Yeah, they did that. They had this huge star-studded cast in there, and that's what drew you out during the show, or at least for me, where I was like, that's Henry Winkler. What is he doing? Why? And like all these people, and it was really confusing. And that's kind of what they were trying to do, where they're like, oh, I wonder who's going to be the next episode. I wonder if they're going to bring back this big star. So they blew their budget. It would have probably been a more successful if they had gotten a less famous cast, because they blew their money on the cast, probably, which is why their CGI was so terrible.
They're doing a similar thing they just announced recently. So the Proud Family is having a reunion, or not reunion, reboot on Disney Plus, and they just put out this week some of the guest stars that will be appearing on the show, and everyone from like Lizzo to Lil Nas X to Normani to Anthony Anderson. And pretty much, if you're famous and Black, you're gonna be on the Proud Family.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair,
that's kind of sounds like where you're going.
That is what's it called?
The original.
Par for the course for Proud Family, because Proud Family, the original cartoon was like that too. It's like if you were famous and Black, you got a guest spot on Proud Family, being somebody.
So the Proud Family is proud of being Black.
Yes. And so that's along those lines of, having that star power to draw people in, but not necessarily like giving them a starring or featured role. Just say a couple lines here, you get a paycheck, and then you get to go home.
I will say also, and thinking of the CG, because I was racking my brain, I was like, granted, by itself, the CG just looks weird. The blending of the face and the skin with the fur just doesn't quite mesh. But also, I was like trying to figure out like, why don't I like the CG? And then I like, if you see it, you can't unsee it. Then I don't
want to see it. What'd you see?
So Jason Derulo was dancing and he just didn't look right. I was like, why does it not look right? So I rewound and I look back and then I look down at his feet and I realized he doesn't blend with the background. It literally is like a sticker. Like they copied and then pasted him into the scene, but they didn't bother to work on the lighting and the shading of his character to make him blend in with the rest of the series, like the rest of the movie. And then I started, as the movie kept going, I kept noticing this all throughout the film where I'm like, did the lighting people just quit halfway through or something? Because
No, they couldn't afford them. They spent it on Taylor Swift.
Probably. It's like there's multiple scenes where the cat people do not blend with the movie and it looks weird and awkward. And it's like, even if you're not like a person who's into CG, for most people, inherently we like have it built into us to know what's real and what's not. And if something is that CG doesn't blend with the background, even if you can't explain it, you know it's wrong. You're like, that doesn't look right. And so it's just like
all of Lion King.
Yeah.
I didn't
so it's like, I was like, that's half the issue right there. Y'all didn't even finish making this movie. Is half the problem already. But also, while I'm on the topic of the dancing too, I'm sure that because they filmed all this on like a green screen set. I'm sure on the green screen set, the dancing was beautiful. It was extremely immaculate. And in the Cats musical, the dancing is incredible. The problem is that not only is the dancing diminished by the CG because they CG'd over everything. So most of those movements look janky and weird with the CG models they have. So that it takes away from some of the dancing. But also, B, Cats is an ensemble musical. That means that you can, in fact, if you watch the filmed version of the musical, there's a lot of wide shots, so you can really see the full dancing and the full choreography. And in this movie, there's so many close-ups, and I'm just like, I would like to see the dancing. That's at least the one thing y'all got right, and I can't even see it because there's too many close-ups and quick cuts, and I can't enjoy a lot of the choreography. Say what you want about In the Heights, but at least you can tell what's going on. You can enjoy the dance moves. You can enjoy the music and all of it mixed together. In here, it's too close. I can't enjoy
I will
that.
say with the too close, I don't think it was like too close to her face, but they kept like
not their face, but just like,
but they kept like wanting to show like every cat and how they were like individually. So it was like tightening on one specific cat. That song with Rebel Wilson where the cat's kind of serenading her. I forgot which song it was. And he's like singing and moving and like doing these movements of serenading, and they just go back to her just like laying out. And it's like, well, I want to see him. He's the one doing the movement. He's the one doing the action. You can show his like affection or his, his passion by focusing on him instead of like the cat version of Rebel Wilson still just like laying out by the window and being like, oh, and staying in one position, not moving at all. So yeah, I agree with you that like they had a problem with just like, instead of having the whole cast and focusing on the ensemble and the choreography, which, is a big part of the play. It's the movement, it's the flow of it, the cats dance. And this movie was a lot for me. The cats dance in a certain way to express their emotions, because even generally in nature, like the way Cheddar wags his tail, it's the body movements that express his feelings and his emotions. They showed none of that because they wanted to show the one individual cat and be like, look what we did. Look at this weird ass version of like, Rebel Wilson or Idris Elba or, whoever. And look how they look human, but they don't look human. And it was like a lot more unsettling if you had just, it would have been a lot less unsettling. I mean, if you had just focused on the whole thing and kind of brought it out more, that way you can focus like more on the whole dancing and the singing and maybe getting more into the passion of what is going on or what they're trying to display. Because a lot of musicals, that's what they're supposed to be doing, is displaying what they want you to feel through their dancing and their songs, but you get to do none of that in this film. And I think probably that's why you were bored, Jonathan, was because you didn't get to feel anything because it just cuts close to one cat and you're just like staring at them. And I'm like, even on TikTok, when I watch cats, they're doing something. They're being silly, they're being stupid, they're being adorable. They're not just like laying there like, oh, as somebody sings to them. They have this weird ass, cats are very expressive naturally. So you didn't need a human face because it didn't work. You could have just had a normal cat. They should have just had a bunch of cats running around the screen. And honestly, it probably would have made more money. The amount of cats I see on TikTok.
And I bet when you're watching the musical, like even the movie, the film's 90s version of the stage musical, or if you're in the theater watching them on stage and you're seeing everything, you're seeing people dressed up and dancing like cats, it's a spectacular like sight. It's a spectacle. But when you're watching CGI'd people with cat face or with human faces and human bodies, but cat, it just doesn't, right? It doesn't like have that same spectacle. It doesn't
half
have
like paws and half hands.
Their hands are
right.
pretty
I
much
was
just their
trying-
hands, but they can still retract claws, and sometimes they have fur.
Yeah, but sometimes
And I
it was like somebody just walking around like this. Got a band-aid on. But somebody walking around like this, and that's just who walks around like this.
Cats do, apparently, according
They're
to them.
like this. Oh, right. Sorry, what were you saying, Jonathan? I was...
No, that was pretty much it.
yeah.
The spectacle is not in it.
You know
It's not a like, oh my goodness, this is lively, it's incredible, it's fun, it's
Also, like with a play version, you're kind of forced to follow with your eyes. It's forcing you to focus because there's so much movement. You're going with it. You know, you're watching this one character get tossed up. Like when I saw the Nutcracker, I found it kind of boring a little bit, but the individual dances were so amazing and beautiful. And there was this one dancer. It was like a couple years ago. I saw her too. I wish I remembered the name. The way she was able to spin on one foot and the guy was just holding her, it was literally like one of those music boxes. And that was beautiful and amazing. And you focused on her and your eyes moved with her. And in this film, because of all those close-ups and all those tightenings, your eyes didn't move. They kind of stared straight. There was no movement. And because the lack of the ensemble and the lack of the whole, like, almost like background dancers as well contributing, you couldn't like look around and be like, oh, I see those dancing, oh, she's really good, oh, they're getting tossed up in the air, well, these people are, you know, being lowered or something like that. It was just such a single frame. And when it comes to musicals, at least I feel, I don't like single frames like that because I think it takes away from everything. There is no passion, there's no feeling, and you're just, it brings back this ordinariness to it. And it's just like, oh, so this is just like a regular movie. And now I'm just, I mean, I could go on TikTok and watch a real cat be cute, not, you know, James Corden falling down and then his a bigger than average belly like flopping around.
right. It takes the details out of it because in film you get to
exactly.
Well, in film, it's kind of like you're kind of forced into a perspective, and sometimes that doesn't work the best for these types of things.
Well, it's like, to be honest, they were destined to fail anyway from the start because at
it was
least
creepy cats.
Well, not only that, but also more because Cats is a musical that does not lend itself to anything but the stage, to be quite honest. Like the way, because it's not only is a conceptual musical, meaning there is really no plot. I mean, there is one, but it's kind of, it's all over the place because that's not the point of the musical. The point is, you know, a lot of the background meanings and themes and music and dance. Like that's the point of why you go watch Cats. So it's like already you're trying to adapt the musical that has no story. and a musical that is entirely directed at the audience. There is no main character. It's all like technically the audience is the main character because each cat is introducing themselves to the audience of who they are and where they come from.
In all fairness, they did try to make Victoria the cat. They tried to make her a main character.
The problem is that she's not an active main character. She literally is just taken from place to place by other people to meet cats. She has no agency.
You're saying she's like the voice of the audience or the eyes of the audience.
Yeah, that's literally all she is the eyes of the audience. Now, granted, Victoria is in the original musical and does have her own number. And I think Francesca Hayward does a pretty decent job. First of all, the ballet, she's an expert ballerina, so that was like not even a question. She was going to do well there. But I think also her singing was pretty decent as well. But like, and even then they can't stay dedicated to that because J.D. Dench addresses the audience.
I think it's weird that they chose an actual trained ballerina, professional ballerina person. I don't know what the proper title is.
Yeah, ballerina.
For the main, just ballerina.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, a properly trained one, and then you filled it with all these other people, like that type of. Don't get me wrong, they're good dancers in their genre, but ballerining, that type of dancing, ballet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't drink during podcasts. Ballerining. It's ballerining now. It's such a difficult art form that people train for so many years to perfect. And then you have these actors who do, like hip hop dancing or other type of dancing, and it doesn't fit properly too. So she kind of was really out on the outskirts because she was the only one who was trained properly to dance in this type of musical. Everybody else has those like weird movements where it's like, you're not really dancing to the style of the music that is playing. You're dancing to the style of the music you either listen to or you are, you sing to. And I think that was another disillusioning thing where it's like, well, I can clearly tell you're not doing ballet or you're not choreographed for theater dancing, I guess is another way to say that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's another mistake they made. They should have gotten, if this was going to be a musical, that has a lot of movement too, because it did. There's constantly, they're cats, they're constantly moving. You need to get somebody who can have that elegant flow as she did.
Well, what's funny though is that they modernize a lot of the music here, like with beats or like the Jellicle Cat song in the beginning has like a almost like disco funk section in it.
Yeah, that's not modern in the original. Anymore.
It's not modern, but I mean modern in that they try to like do like remixes of the Jellicle of all the music, and it doesn't work because like not because the music doesn't sound good, because I think it sounds like fine. It's more just the issue of the lyrics and what's going on the screen doesn't mesh with the music. Biggest example is Mr. Mistopheles, who the magical cat, who in the musical, he's a super confident dude. He like his dance number is honestly one of the most difficult after watching it. Like he does like a bunch of spins and turns and leaps and all types of stuff. And the whole song is basically Mr. Mistopheles being like, I am the most confident cat because I am amazing and there's no one who is better than me. I am the greatest at magic. And in this movie, Mr. Mistopheles is like a super meek and shy and timid character, but he sings the same song with the same lyrics and it doesn't work because it's like, okay, I'm sorry, you're singing about how you're all confident and you've screamed from the rooftop and they or they've heard your voice from the rooftop even though you screamed being by the fireplace, but you're not that character anymore. You're shy and meek Mr. Mistopheles, who definitely has no confidence in himself at all. So it's like, what are y'all doing? Are we doing cats or are we not doing cats? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You just got to stick with the 80s synthesizer music and do what you do. Like that's how it's got to be. If you're doing Cats, you got to do the whole thing or nothing at all.
You know what it felt like when they tried to remix the music to modernize it? It felt like that teacher in school who tried to rap like something at you.
So Glee.
Yeah. Well, Glee was awful. I saw a scene like somebody again on TikTok. I spent way too much time there. Like the teacher of Glee or whoever that guy was like, yeah, I stuck weed in your locker so you would be forced to join the Glee club.
Yeah,
what's the problem with that? That is a plot point. And I was like, what the fuck, man? You framed a student, you got weed? That could have gone in felony charges because it wasn't legal back then. And the whole thing was like, he should not be working with children.
Oh, wait, why would they be forced to join the Glee club because they found weed in their locker?
Because it was either he goes to detention or he joins Glee club. I think is what the decision.
Okay, I will not take this. I was never in Glee club, but I feel like that is such a slander on the arts. Like,
dude, don't act like Glee club isn't a punishment, Jonathan. Okay,
right? Joining Glee club.
It is when you're like forced to wear like the women are forced to wear bikinis. Your teacher is putting drugs in your locker and framing you to have you stick around.
When and are they forced to wear bikinis?
There was another scene I saw where she didn't. It was California girls. They were performing that, and she didn't want to wear like a skimpy top or something.
Oh, okay.
Like everybody else gets to dress normal. He's like, nope, you have to wear it. It's part of the song. And she's like, what the fuck? First of all, you're like a 40-year-old man almost. You should not be telling a 16-year-old to put on a skimpy top. In general, that's wrong. It's like all the other senses, it's wrong.
They had the one Korean girl sing Gangnam Style in that show because she's Korean.
They had that one. She is Jewish, I believe in real life, but in the show she was Jewish, and she took a character away. She played a Latin character, and the Latin actress was upset about it, respectfully. And then when the Latin actress got a character who's Jewish, she's like flipped out and was like, "You don't have the right to do that." She's like, what the fuck? You did it. It's different. And it's really not. And it was just like this whole thing. That show, it kind of almost feels like this in this like weird way where this is bad. And I feel like somebody is trying to get me in trouble for watching this. They're doing it either join the Glee club or watch Cats. And I would join the Glee club. Then watch Cats again.
The thing about Cats is like I joke and say that this movie is trash. I don't think it's like that bad, but I've seen worse. It is. But I will say that like
go back. What have you seen that is worse than this Cats?
Worse than this?
Yeah.
Fantasy Island. Exactly. You had to think about it, didn't you? Like you were just like, damn, he got a good point.
I enjoyed scenes of Fantasy Island, not as a movie as a whole, but scenes. This one I didn't really enjoy any scene.
I enjoyed scenes of
Cats. Has a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it has a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that is nowhere near the lowest that I've seen for a movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, my worst movie I've ever seen in appropriate comedy. I say it like that because literally it's spelled that way, like APP, because the concept is that it's a comedy anthology movie in which each comedy sketch is a different app on an iPad, and that movie is garbage and nobody.
That sounds like a movie that's really trying to be hard to be modern. Also, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. They've getting good movies bad ratings, and then bad movies like great ratings, and it's like I don't know who's over there and you need to fire them and hire some people like.
Well, it's a conglomerate site. It just is all Rotten Tomatoes does is stockpile a bunch of reviews from other people and then goes with the average of like, okay, does majority of these people like it? 60%. Here we go. That's what Rotten Tomatoes does. That's it.
But yes, no, they're doing something over there where they're choosing. One person's like, I really love this movie. Can we give it this percent? All right, I do not believe it's like a commentary full thing. Because if so, this movie would have a 0 rating. This movie would absolutely have a 0 rating.
Hey, listen,
everybody
you'll be surprised.
Hated so much.
You'll be surprised. There's some people who like some stuff.
Leave
Like-
Taylor out of this.
I'm just saying, Taylor's a perfect example. All three of us agree that the original Justice League is not a good movie. You know who loves it though? Taylor does.
Yeah, but Taylor also
I
wouldn't
actually,
go on-
well, I don't think I flat out said I hate the original Justice
I
League.
didn't say hate. I just said it's just not, not that great of a movie. Like there's
I
a
just
difference
hate
between that.
Batman.
Like no,
I
I
hate
just
Batman.
don't. It was the original. Okay, no. I never mind. I just won't open that can.
This
of
is
worms.
how
Never
bad
mind.
this movie is. It is easier to talk about other movies that are slightly better, or like they're not as bad. We're talking about movies like, yeah, it's kind of comparison is kind of bad, but it's like this movie's worse, but actually this movie's not worse. Fantasy Island had its moments, so it's not actually worse. And then you
I
pick-
believe I believe Fantasy Island's worse. I'm sorry.
I enjoyed it.
It's lower. I mean, the
the
totem pole than
I
this.
especially enjoyed the ending where they're like, "It's tattoo," and you're like, "Oh."
That does not make up that review is
It-
great, but it don't
look,
make up for the rest of the movie
this-
for me. I don't
This
care.
movie has no movie that this movie has no scene that makes up for the whole movie. Can you name one scene that like is like, oh, like okay, I don't feel so bad. What scene in this movie would make you not join the
Jennifer
club?
Hudson singing "Memory"? I was right there with her. I was just I was watching the movie. As soon as she started singing, I was just there. I was right next to her. Memories, I was right there with her, singing the whole thing.
I was
You
getting a
were
little.
so
I'm not gonna
weird
lie.
like
On the
that.
inside, I was getting a little emotional when she was going up in that hot air balloon, and she was getting her chance, her extra life.
She
I
was
love-
still
in my mind,
disproportional and a
I
creepy
joked.
cat hemorrhoid.
I joked with when Judi Dench is like, "I choose you," and in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, she chose her because she didn't have any speaking lines. All she's done is sing this whole time."
She didn't. No, she said.
And then she
At one
spoke
point, she
right
said,
after
"Thank
that.
you."
Yeah,
At one-
and I was just like, "No, don't do it. Don't ruin it, Jennifer. Just get in the hot air balloon now. They haven't caught on to you yet."
I noticed that too because I was wondering whether or not she was going to have a British accent because everybody else did, and I didn't hear her speak. So I was
Yeah,
like,
everyone
and
except
then
Rebel
she-
Wilson.
She is British.
No, she's Australian.
Oh,
She's
you're
Australian.
right,
But
you're
did she
right.
have her Australian accent, or was that her
I mean,
as a?
You mean does she talk
the
like she
British
does in
accent.
every movie? I don't think she's ever done any other accent but her voice in anything she's been in.
I'm trying to think, but I haven't seen many. I'm not a fan of Rebel Wilson, so I haven't seen many.
I do want to see
films.
that movie. Isn't it romantic that she's in?
Also, I think there's plenty of cats also that don't have what is it? Does Skimble Shanks have an accent, or Mr. Mustafa? Mr. Mustafa'li, I think, does.
Oh, isn't it romantic? I saw that one. Okay, I did like her in that one. Me and Lauren went to go see it. It's funny. I do. That one I'll give
Listen.
her. I did enjoy that.
Okay,
film.
okay.
But
All in all,
the thing is that I just feel like most of the thing, like even the small things, and it is a short list, but the small things I enjoyed about this movie are just brought down by all the other things, where it just feels like
See, there wasn't a scene worth saving that made the
No,
best
I
better.
said Tattoo was not worth saving Fantasy Island
That
either.
too made me super happy. I was like,
You
hey,
didn't save that movie either for me. But
that was
anyway,
one of the last movies I saw in theaters before the pandemic.
Isn't that sad? That was
That's
like
what
one
I-
of the last movies we saw.
yeah, speak for yourself. I've been watching movies in theaters.
No,
that I
all
really
together,
enjoyed.
all three of us.
Oh,
And
all together.
Rob was
Yeah,
there
okay,
too.
that's true.
You watched
Um,
movies all throughout the pandemic in theaters?
No, not through the pandemic. No, I'm saying right
Yeah, that's
now.
what I said. I said before the
you-
pandemic.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Wait,
Um,
really quick, because work was so slow because I work at an orthopedic office and we do surgeries and the surgery center was closed down. And so nobody was calling. I literally watched 2 seasons straight of the Incredible Mrs. Maisel
Mhm.
on Amazon
One
Prime.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Marvelous Miss Maisel. I watched that and like I went through half a season of like Downtown Abbey. Like I had so much downtime at my own job. I was like, cool, I'm getting paid to watch movies, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, I need things to start up again. I was so
But I think you know what it is about cats too, is that it's just one of those things where because I can appreciate a person trying new things, new and different things. Because experimentation is half of the fun of filmmaking. Like
Who was trying new and different things? Cats is not new and different.
Because I'll give you this. You can't.
They were already really quick. No, because they tried the CGI shit with Lion King. It bombed. And then, like, I respect.
No, it didn't. It made tons of money. That's why they got a sequel coming right now.
Why would they do that?
They're doing a sequel right now.
No, but Disney. No. Disney always does sequels, so you can't even count on Disney.
No, it made money. It made money.
Everybody hated it because it was so creepy looking.
I don't know if people hated it. They just didn't like the CG. But
so it's coming back again. But that's not new or different. They did the CGI closer to the animals, and they did the CGI to humans, which was like Polar Express, which I didn't find as creepy. I actually enjoyed Polar Express.
Well, that's because Polar Express blends. Everything makes sense.
Right, because it's all CGI.
Cats doesn't blend.
But, like, that's the thing. These things were tried already, so it's not fresh and new.
It is fresh and new.
They just did badly. No, there's also like the one with Brendan Fraser, where they have like Looney Tunes. That's like cartoons.
That's
in the
not
real
the
world.
same at all.
No, but I'm saying they fixed the animation where they had the animation in the real person, and then they just tried blending it for the first time ever, and it's awful, and it's creepy, and it's disturbing.
First of all, Avatar exists, and they did it right. It looks like Sam Elliott's face and Sigourney Weaver's face and stuff when it's blended in with the avatars. It looks flawless. It's phenomenal.
But they actually look human though. They have human hands, human feet. They just have that weird tail and that weird hair.
They just have the cat features on the ears. They have the ears and the tails. Yeah,
but they have all cat, and then you just get a human face, and then once in a while their hands look more human than paws, and that's weird too. And then also, wait, there was one I was thinking of when they messed with Superman in the Justice League. They put CGI on Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
Cavill? Really? I thought it was Cavill. And everybody noticed. They're like, he looks like a shark because he was covering his beard. He looks so they have done it before. There's a good example. It made him look like he had Play-Doh on his face. That's honestly what it looked like.
This is the lesson. This is the lesson.
That whole argument. That's not what I meant.
Unless as a studio, if you don't have the funds or the resources to do motion capture properly, then just don't do it at all.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. But what I meant was that most musical movies, they're either like, let's remake the whole musical as is, or if they are gonna go do something different, they normally pick musicals that have people in them so that they can like have the set, like for example, like something like Les Miserables, like Les Mis, where
like Lion King, they had only animals.
But it's so like creepy. Like Les Mis, where you had because it's film and they can go to locations and be other places, it expands the musical in a sense. So for this, I'll give them that. This is a creative idea for sure of like, okay, the musical is people that are cats personified. We have the technology. Let's take it to the next step and actually make them cats. Now, I say that's a great idea. That's a great idea. If you're failing though in execution, scrap it and start. Steven Spielberg wanted to do a Cats movie. We talked about this last week, but his Cats movie was going to be animated and the cats were going to be cats, just normal cats. And it looked great and it would have made more sense. I know they wouldn't have been dancing, but that's okay. The music's still there. The point is,
everybody loves cats. Look at that. Look at that. It's cute as fuck.
Yeah.
But also, wait, really quick. Beauty and the Beast. They had humanoid.
Okay, and
so it's been done before, and also they did the execute. It wasn't.
That's not the issue, Alex.
It is because they were like, you tried something. It's been done before, and there has been the execution. Don't get me wrong. The new Beauty and the Beast wasn't my favorite.
Mine either.
But there was like an execution to it, especially with the clock and the candlestick. They were actually able to be almost human, but not have the human features that were creepy. So they just wanted to make sure you knew who was talking. That's what. It's kind of more lazy than anything, because they wanted the human face on there and be like, oh yeah, it's clearly like Jennifer Hudson. It's clearly, who this is.
Yeah.
So if anything, it wasn't new. It was just lazy because they were still banking on the actors to fulfill that like role of like, oh, I'll come to see for them. But then they just look creepy. They should have just dressed them up like in the play with the spandex and the makeup. I think it would have ended up being creepier almost, but like people would have seen that because it's like, hey, let's go watch Jason Derulo dance around in spandex. That's gonna be fucking ridiculous, but it'll be good. So like I think that's where it falls, where it's like they made this decision wanting to keep the human faces. They didn't want to make them into fully cats.
That's
They
true.
made them into human. Weird.
I'll give you that. My final thoughts though on Cats is just that first of all, as far as a rating, I'd probably give this an F. But this is one of those things where I'm like Fantasy Island, I was hard on because I'm like everything, y'all are just being dumb, all right, intentionally so. But but
I enjoyed it.
Cats, I see the passion, I see the want to make this a good movie, and it's just a lot of ideas and execution as far as like putting it together fell apart somewhere. I don't know where it did behind the scenes, but at some point it just wasn't meshing, and you can see kind of the band-aids and the tape of them trying to like, no, it's working, we're gonna put it back together and it's totally working, and it's just not. Like it's falling apart in your hands, and you just kind of got to start over. And I only feel bad because this happened to me in school when I was trying to make a senior project, and I ran out of money in my budget, and I didn't get to release the project, and I felt awful because I got all these actors together, and their work is basically for nothing. I got all this stuff together, and none of it panned out. And now my whole project's falling apart, and it sucks. But them's the breaks. That happens. Like, and like rather than release it, I would have just held it or something. But I just feel bad. I felt bad watching this movie because I'm like, man, a lot of people put a lot of effort and hard work into this, and it just did not pan out.
So I definitely
Alex, how about you? What's your rating?
I would have to disagree. Oh, it's still an F because this was terrible. I've been drinking for 2 days because of this movie. All right, that should clearly tell you that I'm not a fan. But I have to disagree with Jerome. See, you were with your senior project. You're young and inexperienced. This was one of the first projects you have probably put your heart into and the money and all that stuff. So when it dropped, of course it's going to drop. But these are experienced people. These are people with major studios that are like, hey, you get like this $1 million, spend it wisely. And they should have people budgeting properly, and they should have people, doing all this stuff. And they should know because they have made amazing movies before, and they know this. They purposely tried to cram in this cast, and they purposely made it so that the cat's faces were so human that it's this way, and that they focused on it solely instead of focusing on the whole dancing and amazing, the amazing characters that they could have been. And they did mostly like an introduction movie than anything compared to like the real play, which was an actual storyline, not a solid one, but it was a storyline. They cheaped out on a lot of stuff they didn't have to, such as the lighting or making sure the thing, fits behind. And I will say, with the messed up CGI, they could have fixed it, because Sonic is a great example of that. People were like, Sonic is weird looking. Sonic has human teeth. Sonic does not look right. Okay. And they are like, okay, yeah, I kind of hear what you're saying. And they changed Sonic to actually look like Sonic. They changed him to actually look like the character we all know and love. And people ended up loving that movie because it's like, it's actually Sonic. So like, I don't think as much, I think it was mainly a money thing because they saw all these musicals, getting money, like A Star is Born, Mamma Mia, La La Land, Yesterday, and like In the Heights.
Forgot about Yesterday.
I recently just watched it. It's really good. It's a lot more funny than I anticipated.
I agree. I wouldn't classify that as a musical though.
I mean
Listen, if you classify A Star Is Born as a musical, Yesterday is definitely a musical because it's the
No,
same thing.
because
They sing
They-
songs
they have
and
this
like throughout the movie.
so
So if you call in Star
well,
Is
no,
Born, which only has
okay.
one dance sequence, and they sing songs throughout it, a musical, Yesterday is also a
So
musical.
A Star in
No.
Yesterday, I'll kind of have this moment where it's like there's mainly singing to like an audience, but they have the moments where they're kind of singing the song to themselves, and I feel like that's what makes it a musical. They're feeling the emotion of the song. Because he was singing a lot of Beatles song and he was like feeling it, like, oh, like I'm feeling the song. It represents a lot of what's going on. He's like, but also he's like, I've stolen this song now, and so it's kind of emptying. I haven't watched Stars Born, so I'm not sure of what musical. But like I said, they saw all these musicals making cash because musicals are great. Like Pitch Perfect too. Um, I love musicals. I'm a big musical person. A lot of people don't know that. I love going to plays and all that stuff. And I just found this like really like this is they're trying to like they're focusing on the stars and the actors that are in here more than the actual play, the plot, and like the real dancing. And that upset me a lot because it is the singing I love in the musicals, the dancing and the way, the flow, the movement. Something that I unfortunately can't do. I wanted to do actually when I was little is to go into dancing, but I do not have that coordination balance or even that depth perception, honestly. I'm blind as a bat half the time. To have those, like, if I stretch out a hand, I'm going to whack somebody in the face. There was one time I whacked Jonathan in the stomach when I got scared at it. I thought he was further away from me and I just slapped him in the stomach real hard. I'm really sorry about that, by the way. So,
No
like,
worries.
I don't like with you when you say about your senior project, I know you put your heart into it because you when you're younger and when you're first starting out, your heart's always in your project. But this was a major production company. This was a well-known director and producers, and they were like, we need to make the money more than we need to tell the story. So that's the reason I get enough. I think it's just they lacked the real vision of what the cat should have been. I don't like cats to play. It still creeps me out. But there was a vision to that. They found the poems and they're like, there's something about cats. But again, big cat fan. I had my first cat, Snowbell, for 21 years. I'm hoping to have Cheddar for a very long time. So it's the attachment and the delicacy of cats that are also fucking insane too. So I think they just miss kind of the point of like why they would be doing this way and what T.S. Eliot was writing and then what Andrew Lloyd Webber was trying to show on the play. And they were like, we should just, adapt, add modern music-ish, because it wasn't really that modern, and like just get all these stars. So I feel like the project ended up being so much more hollow than what could have been. So
Well, except in one area, I'll give you about the casting, and that is in Judi Dench. She did an interview where she said apparently she was going to be in the original Broadway debut of Cats, but she had an injury, I think, like on her foot or on her ankle, so she couldn't do any of the dancing. So she missed out on that. So I think for her, this is like I get to be in Cats again.
Which then that means that's a real slap to the face to her.
Probably,
like I get to be in Cats. There's none of the proper original writing or musics, and you get to be like this cat that was originally a male cat, and you have to drop your voice as much as you can, but you really can't. So that's I feel like now that knowing that, I feel like that's even worse. That's a slap in the face to her. She wanted to be in Cats, and she got to be in this Cats. That made me drink for 2 days.
So I'm going to have to give this one a D-. I'm gonna give it a step above, just
Why?
because
what was the last movie Jonathan gave an F? What was the movie?
I remember giving something an F.
He gave one movie an F, and I was so legitimately surprised.
We were like, it pulled us, so we're like, wait, what? Jonathan hated Martha.
Oh, I'm gonna look up.
But no,
continue, Jonathan. Go ahead.
But I'm gonna have to give it a D- because I can't give it an F because I think that would be a disservice to the cast and some of the stellar
Wait, no, I want you to look at Cheddar and tell him why you don't give Cats an F.
Cheddar, I'm gonna have to give Cats a D minus. I'm gonna have to not give it an F because your human counterparts that were playing, your fellow felines,
Your people.
your people.
Hey,
I don't want to put a
people.
separation between us, but
Oh,
we're
see, now
all
you-
one, Yeah, I know. Oh, thank you. Yeah. But
He's getting bored. But go on.
the cast performances, and I thought the sets were cool. Even though I did notice that perspective thing as well, like some of the perspective was off, so that you could tell, especially with some of the furniture and beds and stuff. It looked like they were in a room with huge beds. It didn't seem like they were in a regular sized room and were just small. I think the outside sets were good though. And I liked that that motif of memory, even though that's probably a credit to the original work, the source material.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I
that
like
song they left
I like
untouched. It's pretty much just like the original.
yeah, I liked that. I like that kind of theme and motif because I think, in another credit to Jennifer Hudson, when she was saying how talking about, like, or when the main character was telling her, at least you have those old memories. You might not be in a good space right now, but hold on to those good memories and let go of the bad. I thought that was a nice message to leave with the audience. And then Judi Dench turned to the audience and says, "Look at your cat and call him by his name." And I was going to ask Alex if she did that, because I think she should have, if she did not do it. So I hope you looked at Cheddar and called him by his name and just appreciated him.
Cheddar,
So
I love you.
He's
That's
like,
what you get for real cats.
It's like, okay, and like,
Can I go back to sleep?
as long as food's in the bowl, that's all I care about.
So all that in good stuff, but overall the movie's trash. So yeah.
No. You don't get to say the movie's trash and give it a D minus. Trash.
A D minus is a trash grade.
Wait.
It's a trash grade.
So
all right?
in
No, you
school,
don't get to
when
call no
you would
movie
get a
trash,
D
you give
minus,
it a
you'd
D
be like,
minus.
"I'm passing. I'm good. I'm good."
A D
You would get a
passes
D minus
you
in
and I got a D to get out of high school, Jonathan.
Twilight
yes.
Zone. Jordan Peele, where you at?
My mom
Are we
said
in the
degrees,
Twilight Zone right
get
now?
degrees.
That's
These get
true. What do
degrees.
you mean? People get D's all the time and still get the diplomas and everything else.
I did.
We have different standards. Let's just agree to disagree. All right.
I'm not saying my parents would accept it, but the school board does, and they're the ones who give me the diploma, so that really don't matter to me.
My mom accepted it.
So
She knew what I was.
let me tell you this. What's the score that Rotten Tomato gives in order for you to get that trash can that's throwing up? Okay. What's the score?
Okay.
What's the score that you need in order to
I
get
think
that?
it's probably about like a 50%.
Again,
Okay, exactly.
And that's an F.
But still, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Okay. First off,
No, actually,
I
no.
still think this
Let me look
movie
it
is
up.
trash. But I do agree with Jonathan. The actual you saw it, and I'm sure lots of people saw it, Jerome. The way it didn't stick well, and he almost looked like a sticker. But I do agree, and I said that earlier, that the outside settings were beautiful and almost more complementary to the cat's sizes, more realistic, so it felt better. But you were right; it looked like like, now that I'm thinking about it, it looked like a sticker. But I will agree with Jonathan, where it was a beautiful setting. Had they done it right, this would have been gorgeous, because they did light up the alleyway very well. And growing up in a city where alleyways were a big thing, you always cut through the alleyway. You always did that. Alleys are, to me, very, like, I miss them. I hate how Seattle doesn't have alleyways, and if they do, they're like this big. Like, I used to go play in them when you're a kid. So I get what you're saying when you're like, it's the outside motif, and then you also do have that song Memory. I won't lie, and I'm admitting it fully. Memory did, like, my heart twinge, because I did, lose my cat up in January. So when I heard that song, I thought of her, and I, felt that emotion of like, oh, I just want my baby. And then I just bothered Cheddar, but he bit me, and that's why I have this Band-Aid on. He's a biter. He's not a lover. He's a biter. So, like, there are single individual parts to this movie, and I will give it, that are good, but mainly they focus around Jennifer Hudson, I find. So the real savior of this whole film tends to be her, and which is like a little disheartening because I say so many people forget how talented she is until she's put in situations where she's in such a bad movie.
She's got to save
like,
the film.
where she's literally the only good thing. And then you're like, oh, I'm feeling so emotional now, like memories. It's not even just about cats. Now I'm thinking about, that one person I passed in 3rd grade that was sad. And look at there he goes.
I'm not saying Jonathan. Jonathan's right. I'm saying just when you I'm looking at it right now. Here it is. D 65 to 66 is the grading scale of most colleges and high schools. You know what an E or an F is? Below 65.
We go
a D minus.
We gonna not continue with this conversation.
You can't say movies trash
because I will not be told that a D minus is not a trash grade. Okay, I will not be told that a D minus is not a trash grade.
Super rude, because that's mainly what I got. Nice. Secondly, I will agree that D's were kind of trash because sometimes I got D's on projects and like homework that were trash. I did it, or I stole somebody's homework and did it. So technically a lot of the shit I did hand in was kind of trash because I gave no effort at all. But in all fairness, I was very depressed during that time.
To me, when you say a movie is trash, that means there is no redeeming qualities you need to that there is. There is no, well, this was all right though. So
no, wait a minute. You call almost like a ton of movies trash, but you're like, oh, but I did like this scene.
No,
right.
Here's the thing. Yeah. When I say a movie is trash, I will listen. Let me tell you something. All right, let me tell you something. When I say a movie's trash, it don't matter if there is redeeming qualities because the bad qualities make it worthless anyway. I could, yes, if I have a whole stack of bread, if like most of the loaf is okay, all right, but there's a little bit of mold and a good chunk of that bread, I'm not going to eat the few slices that are still okay. I'm throwing away the whole loaf. That's the way it is.
You haven't
with
been
these
poor
movies.
Enough. You haven't been poor enough then. I grew up in the poor where you just cut it. Yeah, see?
No. I use that analogy, but the reality is I actually have done that. The point like the point is,
but what if you had a sandwich? If you had a sandwich and was, or if you had, let's use your bread analogy. This bread is trash. Oh, this bread is trash. The packaging's good though, but this bread is trash. You like something about it, but the overall bread is trash. The movie itself is trash, but there are elements and people in it who shine more than others.
Really quick, what I drank was trash. It was awful. I'm never gonna buy it again, but it got me drunk enough. So that's a good quality, but it tasted awful. I chugged it. Look at this. And like, I don't like how the aftertaste is, but like it served its purpose. I got tipsy and now
you know what? Comment below. You tell us, audience, all right? Is a D minus, is like, can you call a movie trash if you're gonna give it a D minus? Comment below on YouTube. You tell Jonathan the truth, okay?
and tell me that you agree with me because that is the truth.
Cheddar.
I mean, this movie is.
Wait, let me get mine.
Look at the belly. Look at the belly. It's better than James Corden's belly.
Here, y'all get Cole Young. Cole Young is here. When Cole Young.
I woke him up and I think I scared him because he started running when I.
He's like, oh shit, what's happening?
Cheddar is trying to escape. He's just.
Oh yeah, no, he's getting used to me just grabbing him and stuff, but he's still fighting. See, you would be James Corden though. You would.
Who? Oh.
He's offended. I call him James Corden. But look at that belly. Oh, okay. He's gonna kill me in my sleep.
He wants to. He's just like, I put me down.
Jonathan's coming this weekend. I'm gonna steal Gibson. Oh, he's sleeping. I'm gonna kidnap Gibson. But either way, I mean, in general, whether it's a D or an F, this movie was not good. I regret watching it. I love Jennifer Hudson, but this movie is a movie I legitimately regret watching.
I don't regret watching it because it's finally off the list. We've done it. It's done. We don't ever have to reference cats ever again. We don't have to think about cats ever again.
You
Cats is
no
off the
no.
list.
You. It was all you. You
No,
referenced it.
listen,
you thought about it.
You set
was
it up
you.
too good, Alex, in our Comic-Con
I was
review that it was primed for us
disturbed.
to do. We had to do this movie.
I
It
kept
was
saying no,
is
it
on
was
the list to
disturbed.
do.
Gibson's
Also,
just falling
I
asleep
feel like
in, your
in a
lap. That
way-
is so cute. He's a little puppy.
I feel like in a way this is karmic retribution for what making us all watch Sharknado. So
Hey, fuck off, because Sharknado's great. Look at little Gibson, you just pee pee. He's like, you woke me
anyway,
up.
socials. Here we go. Jonathan, you go first.
You can find me, Anna Tired Gibson, at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please.
Alex.
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram. I'm also on Alex and Cheddar on TikTok, where it's mainly me bothering him there. I also run the podcast TikTok, which is the First One to Die podcast, where I post snippets of our videos, you know, the best of the arguments or little things that we are weirdly like. You can also find all our social media under that name, the First Ones to Die podcast, or the First Ones to Die, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and as well as our Gmail account. What about you, Jerome? Where are we finding you?
You can find me at Not Jerome Red on Instagram, as well as at RoboZoo Media. And yeah, we will see you next week when we do something. I don't know.
Yeah, unplanned.
But you know, it's not gonna be cats. That's that you can rest easy knowing that. So there you go.
Really quick, my regret of purchasing the alcohol and the chapstick. I did purchase something great. I want to show everybody. Look at this. It's from Home Depot. It's swirling.
Ooh.
That is just, you can't see it, but it swirls and I love it. And it's my favorite thing in the world right now.
Ooh.
It does look cool. All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye,
care.
y'all.
I was like, can you